Welcome back to the Young Turks. Francis Maxwell, Hassan Piker, and
Who's
Jason
the youngest
Rubin.
of Turks in this group?
I believe I'm the youngest of Turks, but young Jenk, young Ben, young nobody, because you're
Young Beckham?
From young Beckham, sure, maybe young Braveheart.
Beckham. Taking a lot of liberties on that one.
Better. But Nick Diaz, a 5-year match ban, competition ban, I should say, handed down from the UFC in light of his 3-time broken rule of smoking marijuana and tested positive for it, although some of those tests arbitrary in nature. Still broken the rules 3 times. That is the punishment that came down on him. It's all part of the UFC and really all combat sports MMA related. So Bellator, Ultimate Fighting Championship, TUF, list goes on. What was it?
Bar brawls?
Bar brawls.
There's not a lot of bar. Say that 5 times.
Hobo fights on YouTube.
But this is all part of the, I guess I want to say start with the UFC's new third-party drug testing bylaws.
It's not exactly that though, because the Nevada State Athletic Commission is acting as acting on its own in this place. Because normally UFC is working with Jeff Nowitzki, the guy who actually cracked down and completely changed the cycling sport, and he's one of the best. He's known as one of the best top drug prosecutors out there.
Boxing too, Golden Boy Promotions and Mayweather Promotions.
Boxing as well. And the Nevada State Athletic Commission here is completely acting on its own. And from what I've seen, I've read a lot about on this. We all have our opinions on whether marijuana should be legal or not, but what they're doing outside of that is still absolutely ridiculous. A 5-year ban is a career-ending ban.
Especially at his age.
Yeah, it's not even like 2-year bans or a year ban is still going to have a significant detriment to your career, to your future career. This is the labor that these people do. Like this is his livelihood. If he has no fights, he's not making any money. He's done. What is he going to do? All those concussions that he's gotten over the past couple of years are going to amount to nothing.
Yeah. So
and there's no protection here for the fighters.
I think as you see from the reaction, Joe Rogan, Ronda Rousey, all the people involved, they think it's a disgusting abuse of power. That's what I think, quote one of their phrases.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's a ridiculous ban to apply for this. I do have my thoughts on Nick Diaz. He has broken this rule on numerous occasions. The one thing that I say about this is, like, whilst this policy is in place, whilst our country remains to be so resilient in putting forward the use of marijuana, there's still so many split views on it. In sport, it's still considered to be a drug. Therefore, he needs to understand that. 3 times is just not acceptable for me. And I don't think 5 years 5 years is ridiculous. It's career-ending, as you just said. But Nick Diaz has showed a continuous disregard for this rule. Now, I don't know what to say for this, because I think it's shocking that he is going to, now his career's over, basically. I don't see him bouncing back from this. But I don't know what to say when it comes to this issue, because I just want to say to him, like, why do you continue to do it?
Because it's a ridiculous rule, and the testing, it's a urine test. So you don't even know you don't know whether or not he smoked the day of the fight, whether he was high on the fight, or if he was just recreationally or medicinally using marijuana.
And that plays into the arbitrary rule of the testing and why they're also bringing in this third-party testing system to go in place. Also, and I want to get to a point later on, because you mentioned Ronda Rousey, and she had outcry about this specifically to Nick Diaz, which we have her quote for it. "It's so not right for him to be suspended 5 years for marijuana. I'm against them testing for weed at all. It's not a performance-enhancing drug. It has nothing to do with athletic competition. It's only tested for political reason. They say, oh, it's only for your safety to keep you from hurting yourself because you're out there. Why don't they test for all of the other things that could possibly hurt us?" So 2 quick reactions to Ronda Rousey's quote. First of all, they are going to be testing for synthetic testosterone, which is very common in combat sports, for steroids, which is a much bigger issue altogether. But she does hit the more important point, and where I feel this falls into play with Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz has been it's a political power move by, and we were discussing this off camera, as well as many other outlets of write-ups, MMA Weekly, MMA Mania. It's a political power move because it is very clear and evident that Dana White does not like Nick Diaz. And you can take that whichever way you want, but there is numerous interviews, numerous quotes from Dana White himself where he is very clearly against Nick Diaz. And my question really for this specific 5-year ban comes down to, if this was Ronda Rousey, Was there any chance that she gets a 5-year competition ban? Granted, she's not the type of person, as we have seen over her last few fights and her outcry against it, unless she's the biggest hypocrite in the world, that she's not on any kind of drug or smoking marijuana before fights.
So this is the question I want to ask both you guys, right? So imagine we're in a world that this whole marijuana debate is not going on, right? That everyone, some people believe that it should be legal. I agree. Like, I won't hold that against anyone. But just imagine that it's just a drug that's considered to be breaking the rules. What kind of punishment do you imply if someone has broken it for the 3rd time? That's all I want to know. Is like, what kind of punishment do you apply to try and send a message that he cannot keep doing this?
No shot at title fights. Rest of you, if you want to do that for 5 years, so you cannot be a title holder. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to fight. Hefty fine. $500,000.
Which they already applied. They already applied $150,000.
Which to a UFC fighter is I don't want to say a shit ton, but it's a lot because when you look at it comparatively to the gates that come in.
Yeah.
I just think that the easy option is that whilst you're within that sport, just take the biggest precautions you can. Take the ultimate precautions. If you have to smoke weed, just make sure you're not within anywhere near of a fight.
But first of all, it's legal at a state level, and you can have, like I said, there's a medicinal use for it. It's not just recreationally used. So let's say he's using it medicinally. It's legal. The urinology reports that you are not enough. They're not. If the rules are set in place, but there's no way to regulate them appropriately, especially because you don't know. No one is claiming that there's no studies that say that marijuana actually gives you performance-enhancing boost. But let's say there is a performance-enhancing boost. If you can't regulate it properly, then it's extremely unfair to actually uphold this regulation.
So we have 2 graphics, 6 and 7, which are punishments for substances like marijuana, cocaine, and then another punishments card for like steroids, synthetic testosterone. So let's take a look at both of those. So to be tested for in competition only, in competition is defined as 6 hours before the weigh-ins and 6 hours after the fight. These are for specified substances, and that includes 1 year with possibility of 2 additional years for aggravating circumstances, double the sanction for first offense, double the sanction for second offense. You're just adding on to that first offense. That is weeds, cocaines, those drugs tested with before fight night, literally. The second half of that punishments card turns out to be stuff like synthetic testosterone, as we mentioned, steroids, HGH, what you think of.
Known things that are proven to actually increase and enhance your performance, whether you need it or not.
And of course, more harsh penalties for those. So, Nick Diaz, 5-year competition ban. We discussed our thoughts and our feelings in a very honest, open manner regarding the UFC, really all MMA combat sports for that matter. The third-party system coming into place. Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Starting off with the question is, do you think the 5-year competition ban is just for Nick Diaz, yes or no? Comment below. You can follow these guys at Fred_Maxwell, at Hassan the Hun, and at JasonRuben91, as well as at TYT Sports on Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe, like, favorite, all the good stuff. We'll see you next time.